Welcome to ZAMBITION, the channel on which we engage in dialogue with leaders from across sectors and generations. Greetings and welcome to ZAMBITION. My name is Martin Kalungubanda, your host on this channel. I'm extremely delighted today. Our guest is someone whose work I deeply respect. Although we come from different parts of the country, I call him a brother because I have and continue to learn so much from him. His name is Dr. Sebastian C Kopulande. Dr. Kopulande was elected in August 2016 as the first Member of Parliament for a newly constituted constituency called Chembe. He is also the Chief Executive Officer of the Zambian International Trade and Investment Center, which is a private consulting firm providing trade and investment facilitation services. He is also the current chairman of the Zambia-China Business and Friendship Association. Between 2016 and 2020, Dr. Kopulande served as Zambia's representative to the African, Caribbean, and Pacific European Union Joint Parliamentary Assembly. He holds a PhD in management with specialization in leadership from the University of America. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He obtained his master's degree in management studies from the University of Oxford in 1985, having earlier on graduated with a distinction from the University of Zambia. He also had the opportunity to study at Georgetown University, among many other institutions of learning. He is a fellow of the Institute of Directors of Zambia. In his former career, among many other roles, he served as Director of Industry in the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. He served as Comptroller, also the position of Permanent Secretary at State House under President Frederick Chiluba. He later served as a Special Assistant to the President, responsible for special duties under President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa. Dr. Kopulande, welcome to ZAMBITION.
Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you for the humbling introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm humbled that you found it appropriate to invite me to appear on this highly auspicious program that you are running.
It's our honor to have you on the program, Dr. Kopulande. May I invite you to show and describe an object or image that best reflects who you are and the journey you have walked this far.
Looking around my desk, I see something that I feel really describes my person. It is this, the globe. The globe, Martin, is the totality of our lives as created for us by the Almighty God. He put everything in there and commanded us to have dominion over it. He gave us everything we needed Gave us the land, he gave us the waters, he gave us the air we breathe, he gave us the forests, the oceans, the soil for us to grow our food. How do I compare myself to it? I feel that in me, you can find whatever you want to find, and you can use my varied abilities to get the best for society, to get the best for yourself.
And where did that journey of tending the earth, being part of the earth, begin for you?
It began on 22nd April 1959, some 62 years back, in Chembe district, where my father was the catechist.
What does catechist mean for non-Catholics?
For non-Catholics, a catechist is a layman who is not he's not a priest. He's a layman, but he evangelizes, he teaches in the church. And during those days, catechists were very crucial because we did not have enough priests. My father was the senior catechist, so he was in charge of the parish. We could get a priest maybe once a month or once every 2 months. So the priest would come, bless the sacrament, go away, and my father would remain in church. He remained the local priest distributing the Eucharist. Those days, catechists had the power to baptize. My father was baptizing. That is a catechist, and I was a catechist's child.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what that means in terms of the high level of the disciplinary code.
Did that influence you going to Bahat, which is a minor seminary, and a number of people who went to those minor seminaries ended up becoming priests? Was that Dad's intention?
It was my father's dream, of course, that being the catechist, he had to lead by example, and wanted one of his sons to take up the vocation, and unfortunately it wasn't to be. It was a disappointment to him at the time, but I don't think it was anymore by the time he was passing on to the next life.
Dr. Kopulande, a few years ago, you had a nasty road accident, an accident that almost took away your life. Would you count that among the 2 to 3 most defining moments in your life so far?
Absolutely, Martin. That was a very, very trying moment, because I lost my arm in that accident, as you recall. And at the time that the accident occurred, the villagers took us out of the car, and I was praying that God takes me, but provides somebody to look after my children, because all I had were 3 girls, young girls, who were so vulnerable, and that they needed somebody to help. And my mother, Mary, the mother of Jesus, appeared in front of me and said, "You are not dying. God has heard your prayer. You bring up your own children." And here I am. Now we're talking about almost 18 years ago.
So in that moment, when you were lying there, almost passing on to the other side of life, you saw Mary, Mother Mary, who assured you you are not going to die.
Yes, and she spoke with confidence, in very clear Bemba. Shimumba tawafwe, lesamfwe pipoliowe. Ukakushaba bowe, ukankanya pofyo kula ipepelera. That was the message. And immediately that message was delivered to me, the thought of death just escaped. I didn't think about it. And I remained conscious throughout up to the time I was taken to the theater 6 hours later.
Yeah.
In Mansa General Hospital.
Thank you for sharing that. But allow me to just capitalize on that openness from your part. I remember at one time you had just begun to get to your ordinary life after the accident. And then you looked at me when I came to see you and you said, Martin, if Vanamumba had not accepted me the way I am now, it would have been a big challenge for me. And by Vanamumba, you meant Mrs. Kopulande. Could you say more about what that was for you?
The young lady has been a major component of my life to this day.
And by young lady, you mean Mrs. Kopulande?
Yes, yes. Yes, that's the young lady.
Yes, okay.
She'll always be the young lady, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's been a major component of my life. She's been on my side, even under the worst of circumstances, like the experience that that I had. We were taken to South Africa. I could feel the pain that she was going through. But she was there for me. She was there for me. In fact, there was a night that I almost passed out. And because of her motherly sense, that night, she decided, she still hasn't explained to me what happened exactly. She decided not to go and spend the night at the hotel across from the hospital where she was staying. So I was asking her, but you are not going, it's 22 hours. She says, no, I've made arrangements with the nurses. They have allowed me to stay with you tonight. And around 4 a.m., I almost passed out. And it was her who noticed something was wrong. And she quickly called in the nurses. The nurses could not perform an emergency placement of a needle in my vein. They couldn't find the vein. She grabbed the needle and put it on my neck. And
because that's her profession as well.
She's a qualified nurse. So they asked her, who are you? Then she explained, I'm a nurse of many years. So she's been wonderful. And she's the girls, the children, you know, all the girls were really there, and they've been there up to now, and they provide support, both moral and practical support. It's been a great experience of the love of the family.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any other defining moment? I know we have many to pick, but I would love to hear one more.
After the accident, there were so many questions going on in my mind. How will the people in Zambia take me? How will my friends, especially my friends, I wanted most, will my friends accept me with one arm? Or are they going to walk away from me because I was not normal anymore? But the defining moment came when, after the burial of my mother, the following day I got a call from President Mwanawasa. I was in Mansa after the burial. The following morning, I got a call from President Mwanawasa and says, I was looking for you yesterday. I couldn't find you. I am going to hold a press conference in the next 1 hour. I am appointing you as my special assistant, special duty. I thank God that day because my biggest fear was, look, I had actually given up on public service at that point, that I don't think I'll ever go back to public service anymore. I don't think government would want to employ somebody who is like me anymore. But when President Mwanawasa came through, it was a defining moment. Why? Because it brought back my self-esteem, my sense of self-worth, that I was still useful to my country at the level of servicing the head of state with such a wide mandate.
It's interesting, I know, because this is a major loss of one's limb. But at the same time, when you look at your achievements, and that's what leads me to the next question. Think of an ordinary boy from Chembe, Luapula. You would call that, where you are now, an exceptional life. As I said in my introduction to you, you attended the University of Zambia, graduating with distinction. You went on to Oxford. Later on, Georgetown. And there are many other renowned global universities and institutions of learning. You have extraordinarily served at various capacities at least 3 of our former heads of state. You went on to not only set up, but also acquire businesses that can't be called small enterprises. They are large industries. And 5 years ago, then, you became the inaugural member of parliament for a new constituency. And I'm just picking a few elements. There are millions of young people out there, Dr. Kopulande, who share your village background, your humble beginnings. If they are listening and they are watching this dialogue, can you help them understand how a village boy arises from the village and does and accomplish what you have done?
Martin, your question has taken me back to Unza. Just when I went into Unza, 1979, I went to the Gents. And in the Gents, it was written, somebody had written, if you are from Luapula and you are reading this, then you are a king. So I thought of this and I said to myself, I am not really a king, but probably what this guy who wrote this intended to say was to say that considering where you are coming from and you are here in this university, the conditions through which you had to go to be able to qualify, and for you to be able to qualify to be here, there must be something exceptional about you. You must have a gift. What does it take? That's your question. It takes focus, discipline, support of the family. You need a motivation. You need a family that puts a responsibility on you, and you must be ready, willing and able to say, here I am, Lord, send me.
Dr. Kopulande, what is your ZAMBITION? What is your highest aspiration for our country? And what will it take for us to attain that ZAMBITION?
That's a good question. For a person who has been in public service for a total of 30 years now, actually, yeah, I've been grappling with that question. But Martin, put simply, I would like to see a Zambia that takes its rightful place amongst the leading countries in Africa and among the great nations of the world, where citizens have access to services such as education, health, communication, where citizens are able to have 3 meals a day, at least, and are in a position to enjoy their full human rights without hindrance, while living in an environment of peace and tranquility. This is my dream for my country. And to get there, we need to take deliberate action and do at least 3 things. Firstly, we need to build a progressive society and renew our system of government.
What does that mean? Progressive society.
A progressive society, Martin, means a society that is responsive to the changing aspirations of the Zambian people, because we do not want to be in a situation where stagnated. We must progress. And progression today means that we must have a governance system that gives full participation to the people that we govern, where political power is owned and exercised by people at the local, or what I like to consider at provincial level at least. We must be a society which understands that responsibility for development must be put at the local level or at provincial level. We must have a society where what is rewarded is hard work and not criminality. A society where meritocracy, Martin, defines entry into public service. We must have a society where each individual, able-bodied or disabled, will remain free to pursue their dreams without hindrance, where every child, regardless of gender or background, will have an equal opportunity to grow and develop to their full potential. As for government, we need to build a pro-integrity government system with built-in mechanism to prevent corruption. I see and hear a lot of talk about fighting corruption. You fight what is there. You don't fight what is not there. So the only way to fight corruption is to make sure that corruption has no possibility of actually happening. How do you do this? This can be done through the use of modern information technology, the encouragement of the enactment of enabling media laws that allow public scrutiny of government activities. The second thing we need to do, Martin, is to build an equitable nation. An equitable nation is where all Zambians are equal, regardless of tribe, gender, region of origin, and so on, and where all Zambians are united with a sense of common responsibility, a common purpose in pursuit of the best for all of us.
What currently stands in the way of all that you are painting?
What stands in the way is that at the moment we are driven by patronism, a political system that we have not really understood. We have not really understood a multi-party system, because our understanding of a multi-party system now is that the party in power then becomes the party that benefits from government services. That's where we've got it from. And that is where the corruption gets inbuilt into our administrative system, into our governance system. Because These who are in power today, they are eating. So we must remove them so that we can also eat.
So it's not that eating is wrong. It's just who is eating that which we want to fight.
Exactly.
And by eating, you mean corruption.
Exactly. So what we need to do is to create a governance system where everyone is eating, regardless of whether they are in government or not. This is a governance system that is driven by the aspirations of the people, to fulfill our people's aspirations, not to fulfill our own individual thirst.
Can I just pick two moments in your work life, among many? The earlier one being you having served, as you said, special duties, assistant to the president. That's a very powerful position at State House.
Yeah.
And more recently, only a few weeks ago, as Member of Parliament. How did you try to bring about such a society?
You see, I went into Chamber as Member of Parliament for the first time. There were no governance structures. People did not understand what a Member of Parliament was and what they are supposed to do. People were far away from government. For me, this is the land of my birth, the land of my origin, the land of my upbringing. So I did an assessment. How best can we get our people here to understand development and to be able to be part of the global Zambian society? There are too few people from Chamber that have an education beyond a first degree. Even those with a first degree, you can count them on my one hand. So I can count them, but I won't. So I said my first priority shall be education. We embarked on building schools. We've built 8 schools in the last 4 years using constituency development funds. We have built health infrastructure. Today, the people of Chamber have got street lights. Martin, today, the women of Chamber who are traders have got 6 markets that have been built. Today, we even have a hospital, hospital. In 2016, when I took office, we had 9,700 pupils in school. Mm-hmm. Today, Martin, we have 14,000 pupils in school in a period of 4 years. Our people need to understand that public service is exactly what it is, public service. It is a vocation, it's a calling, it is to serve your people without necessarily benefiting yourself.
Dr. Kopulande, as we conclude our dialogue, I would like to hear from you what the best piece of advice among many you have been given
was from my late brother, Michael, who built in me this thirst to search for excellence. When he said to me, for you, not even the sky is the limit. This is why, Martin, when I graduated at the University of Zambia, I did not even have a break. I went straight to do my master's. I think that advice to focus a lot on school and on my education is what has transformed this boy from a village in Luapula who first wore his first pair of shoes when he was in grade 5 to where he is today. At least he can wear a watch. He can change his pair of shoes. And he can be in parliament because of school. So for me, what I advised from that, and I told my people in Chembe, education is what will take you out of Chembe to search for bigger opportunities. Education is what will fight poverty. So that advice from my brother, Michael, I think has brought me here, Martin, has brought me here and has created who I am.
And education forms the gateway to the kind of opportunities that you, as a village boy from Chembe, from Luapula, has accessed over the years and continues to access. Dr. Kopulande, thank you very much for sharing your story. Thank you very much for your vulnerability to share when you were at your deepest point of need through that accident. But also for inspiring us to see that we are not defined by the humility of our backgrounds, the humbleness of our backgrounds. Thank you very much for being here and for sharing your story.
Thank you very much, Martin, for giving me the opportunity to express my dream for my beloved country.
Having listened to the dialogue and followed my conversation with our guest, I now invite you to look at the drawing that emerged out of that dialogue. Take time to see the contours, the colors, the images that are reflected on the painting, on the drawing. And pay attention to what the drawing evokes in you. What are the feelings? What are the thoughts that are ignited by you looking at the painting? What thoughts does the painting generate in you with regard to your own leadership? What thoughts, feelings, and images does this painting evoke in you with regard to the future of our country? What else does this painting make you think and feel? Kindly share your reflections on this channel so that we can continue the dialogue on the future of the country we all love, on the future of our nation,